Alrighty. Hello and welcome. We will be working on some more artwork today. Making maps for Dungeons and Dragons. I've prepared a whole bunch of layers as before, and we're just gonna dive right in. I'm gonna try to do a little more talking today, but I'm not the best at that, really. I try, but it just doesn't always work out. Okay, so we've got our background, a very nice and spooky color. We're going to be making kind of a spooky enchanted woods with a bunch of ruins and foresty elements. Ideally, something along the lines of this, which is a map I've done previously with this background. I only made 3 segments of it, and I want to make a whole bunch more so that ultimately it makes a nice, large, enchanted woods. We're going to also be adding some spider webs this time. Alright. So, let's just get started. Let's change the color of this. Control B. Alright. Needs to blend in a little bit more, so let's bring that blue up maybe. Make it a cold stone. And then just a little hint of red. And there we go. Get rid of some extra copies I had left over from the last color palette. There we go. Alright, duplicate this up. And let's say 3 of them should be fine for now. We'll just start our path coming in from the side. Blend it right together going upward. Make a few more of these, duplicate, and duplicate. If I rotate that just like so, there we go. Nice path going through. Alrighty. Onward to the ivy. I've made blue ivy and purple ivy. So let's put this ivy where we think it will impact the terrain. It's kind of nice, but let's rotate it a bit. There we go. Rotate this as well. And yeah, about like that. Yeah, that looks right. See, that's the interesting thing about working with organic maps, like a forest. They don't have to 100% look right. They just need to have the right feel. Alright, we've got some roots, with some twigs, and some rocks. There we go. Right along this side of the path. Maybe one more set of them. Put them up here this time. There we go. Do we want rocks? We probably want rocks. Let's see. Don't need that many rocks. Rotate it a little bit. There we go. And put it so only 2 of the clumps are on the camera. Alrighty, I like this. I want to try to keep this main center area open, so we're going to keep the trees to the framing corners of this. Maybe not even in that higher corner. At least that's the idea. Also, we got webs. I think we'll wait for the webs for another map. First get some out without spiders. Maybe make these spider webs further away from the road. Alrighty. What do we got? Green. No, we do not want green. Logs? Nah. Nope. Don't want junk. Orange or orange. Ooh. Ooh, I think I like that darker orange right now. Alrighty. Just a little bit of that over here. And then maybe a little bit of that all the way up here. That works. Just right on the edge. Nice contrast between the orange and the blue colors. Now these are really fuzzy and out of focus, so they're underbrush, so trees will be on top of them. Notice I'm working from my layers from the bottom up. This doesn't always ring true, but it is very useful for when you're trying to get the overall finished look, because see how the orange is underneath the yellow? We got our layers put in the right order so that we know what it will overall look like. Yeah, I think we'll drop that one bright tree right there. All the rest of the trees are going to be much more muted and dark. Yeah, not that one. Ooh, aqua trees. Let's play with some aqua trees. No, that's not exactly an aqua, but I had used every other color name at that point, so. Ooh. Yeah, that works. Purple and red is going to be a highlighted color in this palette. And we don't want to cover up all the rocks, just a little of them right there. And we'll put a second one in. Yeah, right there. You're kind of, how do I put this? Feeling your way through the colors, trying to make something that works well together but has a little bit of contrast, because if it all looked the same it would be rather blasé. Like when you're cooking a meal and you end up making 3 or 4 tan colored dishes. It just is less appetizing. Ooh, yeah, we're gonna rotate you. Throw you right down in here. Get some nice greens in. Ooh, perfect. Love it. So these layers are layers I've been working with for a while. It started with finding a single tree I liked, rotating it, tweaking it, cutting it, and then making these groups of anywhere from 3 to like 20 trees, kind of spread out in weird clusters so that it would be easier to manipulate one panel than have to put 8 different panels together. All of the same tree. Yeah, that works. That's the other thing about making forests. It doesn't have to be perfect. Nature doesn't follow a pattern. The more random it is, the more realistic it looks. If you create one panel and then repeat it over and over and just all the way around, that has like the same 10 trees and the same configuration, it's not going to look good. You end up wanting to rotate these all the time on every single map so that it just changes a little bit. And we're going to actually drop this layer further down because we want it in the background. So we're going to drop it all the way down to here. Ah, there we go. Now, see, it's behind the tree instead of in front. So when I do this, it looks more like the lower part of the same tree, a little bit fuzzy. Alright. Oh, and we're working in a image that is 1000 pixels by 1000 pixels. Now that doesn't seem very big when you think about all the high definition maps you're probably used to seeing. But some artifacts, and these layers are made up of artifacts, are either really huge and you have to shrink them down, or are really tiny and you have to blow them up. In both cases, they kind of just have trouble if you have to make them too big or too small. There's a nice happy medium about this size, or a little bigger actually, about 2000 pixels by 2000 pixels down to 1000 by 1000 is that happy medium. I'm working on the smaller side of it right now, for various reasons. But the idea being that well, the map software we run our D&D games through recognizes 50 pixels by 50 pixels as a single square. Here is my representation of that. This is the size of a player's token on the map and or a single part of the grid. And when you think about how many of these can fit all the way across the map, this is a fairly large map. A carriage isn't going to be terribly big. A bonfire is not going to be terribly big. The monsters might be. You're going to need this amount of space for a small fight. But ideally, you don't need a huge map. It can create data logs or problems in some of the map softwares, but this is a perfectly fine small encounter. And twice this size would be a big encounter, and anything bigger would be huge, like working on a city or an entire fortress or one of those all-inclusive dungeons where the GM puts masking areas over and doesn't have to worry about changing the map. Although just making one room at a time is honestly easier. Because then if the GM really wanted to use that trap, but you guys went completely past it, they can just pop that in for the next room, and it doesn't really matter the order. But back to the art. So, here we go. We were down here somewhere. Ah yes, red-orange. Ooh, that's a nice vibrant tree. See, too much contrast. Yeah, right there. A nice blurry tree for a background thing. Let's drop that down actually. Yeah, drop it right in. Ooh, maybe, no. Yeah, right there. Fall. Ooh, nice with those weird colors. Perfect for this creepy forest. This used to be a white barked tree with bright orange leaves, and I color tinted it in preparation for this. So let's see. Yeah, too close to the blue in the corner. We want it over something like the purple ivy or the red or the white. Let's... I want to keep this area open again. Let's put it right here above the trees for nice contrast. And then we got a wine-colored tree. Too much reds up here. Maybe it becomes the last tree we put down here. Just like right there. You only need a hint of it inside the map to give the illusion that there's a lot more forest and it's just too thick to fight in if you go off the bounds of the map. I hate it when the map is completely clear around the entire outside because it makes you think, oh, well, I could just back up and use that open terrain to my advantage. But when you're working with forests, ideally, it's just too thick. You're using this clearing for a reason, whether the bad guys used it for an ambush point, or you've drawn the fight in this direction, or it's the only place where fighting really would work. Dead trees are important, people. Every forest has them. If you don't put them in it, it doesn't look realistic. Alright. Right there. Another dead tree. Where should we put this one? Up here? Yeah, definitely. How about right there? What do we got? Ooh, beautiful dark purple. Nah, this should have been lower. Let's drop it down again. And these layers change all the time. I don't have them in the right perfect order because sometimes I need them in the foreground just to make it different. I could blow this up and they'd be the big main tree, but I want them as the background. Not quite like an ivy so much as shorter trees or larger bushes. And you don't need a lot of these pop colors to get the feeling out there, but we are going to duplicate it so that we can have it in more than one area. One more time. Duplicate, and what do we want to put down here? Oh, that's just perfect, right there. Boom, boom, boom. Nice still big open area for their fight. I want to keep this corner, that path, this area here, but I don't mind filling this area up with more trees, so let's keep going. Where did we... There we go. We got... Ooh, dark. Yeah, let's put some dark green in, because even though we're in an enchanted forest, trees are naturally green, you gotta have a little bit of that. Otherwise, it just looks like you put a color filter over your map. Is that too busy? I like it, though. But it feels too busy. What about down here? Yeah, just one tree. Nope. Let's try rotating. Alright. Definitely funnels them, but not what the feel was we were going for, or the placement. Alright, I think I like this lineup, but let's shrink it down so we can actually fit two of them on the map. There we go. Not quite right yet. There we go. So you've got a little tiny hint of green. Nice, weird, small cluster of bushes. Not terribly much bigger than a player, so not too much in the way. They could move through the rocks. It would be considered like difficult terrain, or through the path, creating a small bottleneck. These are the kind of interesting elements you kind of want to be forming. Here's the normal tree. With this tree and that tree used to be the same, but you can see what a little bit of color changing will do. I think we're gonna just throw that there for some texture. Oh, that's not what I meant to do. This is a project for later, ignore that. We're just gonna delete that and go right back over here. That's the problem with having two projects open at the same time. I am so guilty of that. And oh, we're using a photopea, which is a free online photo editor. Very akin to Photoshop. Pretty much all the same bells and whistles, just a different configuration of the interface. And it's online. The only downside I would say is that you can't save the PSD file without it creating a new one. So then you'll end up having like 8 of these really big files, and you have to figure out which one is the version you want to keep. But that's my only complaint. Everything else is really easy. It's only ever crashed on me maybe twice. That's not bad. I've used it a couple hundred times. In fact, within the last 2 weeks, this map is going to be almost map 100 in the last 9 days. Right, which tree are we on next? Oh, that's all the bushes. Okay, so we've got a nice finished forest here. The question now becomes, do we want to save it, or do we want to add anything else? And when I say add other things, I mean like firewood, small towers, a cottage. I think for this case we just want the forest. So this map is done. And we're going to save it. I'm going to export it as a JPEG because that's what our programs use for our maps. And this is usually how close in the players are zoomed for combat, or halfway between this and the way I work on it. And you can see how the background bushes are a little blurry, and the foreground trees give you that nice depth perception. And ideally, your hero is going to be fighting in here. Anyways. But, oh, see that little tiny line? That is a good thing we caught that. We are going to cancel and not save it, because we need to fix that. And that goes all the way down to here, to this map. And all we gotta do is stretch it. And stretch it. And stretch it. We're just giving it a little bit of an overlay, because when we go back in to save it, it should be gone. Yeah. Or it's just a glitch showing up, in which case we're fine either way. Yeah, it's just a glitch showing up. And here's our pretty map. Save. Alright, that's one done. Alright, I think I'm gonna stop the video here and make another one, because processing small videos is a lot easier than one big one I've discovered. So, thank you very much for joining me on this little map making adventure. And we'll see you next time. Alright. Thank you.